Welcome to Bully Ball, presented by DraftKings. I am Rachel Nichols. As always, Mr. DeMarcus Cousins and Rajon Rondo is back. This makes my day. We are talking to you, Boogie, in Taiwan. You are back there with the Taiwan Beer Leopards, which I learned only after your last stint is not the Taiwan Beer Leopards, but the Taiwan Beer Leopards. But I have to say, in my heart, they will always be the Beer Leopards, and I'm going to make my own merch that just says Beer Leopards, and that's how I'm going to appear on the podcast next week. So
hey, we need all the support.
Just be ready for that.
I'm cool with it. Supporters, rockers, we need that.
How's it going over there for you so far? I saw that you got into a little thing with an opposing player on their bench. But this is is this Kentucky Louisville beef like spilling over? Didn't he go to Louisville? What's happening here? What happened? Do we have a clip, producer Nate? Can we see the clip? Here we go.
You talking to me, bum ass?
Rajon, you have any commentary there?
I've heard those words before.
Really?
All too well.
I'm shocked.
Yeah, a couple years back, a couple seasons in my day.
Oh man! Shout out to Jalen Johnson, man. First off, man, he was a little frustrated. I put some veteran moves on him, got him in some foul trouble, but in the beginning, I was trying to talk to the young fella like, look, you're taking your frustration out on the wrong guy. You should be mad at the ref. I didn't call the fouls. I created them, but he called them. His emotions was a little all over the place. He got the chirping here and there, so we had some back and forth. But at the end of the day, it was hoop. We kept it cool. We shook hands at the end. And we actually ended up playing again the next night. And it was a lot better of an exchange, man. I think he understood. Oh, sorry about that. I think he understood, where I was coming from. Just as far as how to play the game, how to not use your hands on defense and things like that. So I understand. When it comes to this game, people get frustrated. It happens all the time. You say things you don't really mean sometimes.
Look at the growth.
So, you feel me?
Oh my goodness.
You feel me though? You feel me, bro?
Okay. This ain't cuz. Okay. Look,
I don't want no smoke. Shout out to Jalen Johnson. He's a talented young kid. Bright future. And we're gonna keep it hoop. That's all I got to say.
Look at the player you raised, Doe. Look at that. All those hours in Sacramento, all of the time put in there to you about temperament and how to see the game.
I can't take all the credit. But it's about growth, and I'm happy to hear his response on what happened a couple days ago. So shout out to the big fella. That's what life's about.
There you go. All right. The adventures of the Beer Leopards. And yes, I'm going to keep calling them that. We will continue to follow over the next few weeks. Let's talk a little NBA playoffs, though, because they started over the weekend. Of course, every single home team won this weekend, which has not happened in years. So I just want to go rapid fire with you guys. Big picture. Let's start with you, Boog. What stood out to you the most?
For me, what I've seen so far is, and I may be speaking early on this, but I really feel like we're starting to see the turning point in the league to where the youngsters are, starting to take over. And it's still a little early, but we saw a lot of dominant performances from, this younger, age group of guys that's coming up in our league right now. The Shays, the Anthony Edwards, obviously the Lucas and guys of that nature. So I'm like I said, I may be speaking early, but I just feel like we're now about to see that shift in the NBA to where it's the new kids on the block, and they're now starting to push the older guys out. And obviously that's exciting times because it's always that question about, what happens when this next group pushes out the Stephs, the LeBrons, the Kevin Durant's. They are getting to that age where their days are starting to become, more and more limited. And the dominance isn't as dominant as it once was at a certain time. So exciting times are ahead. The future of the NBA is in great hands, obviously. But for me, that's what I really noticed the most about the playoffs. Like, even when it comes to us determining, what we feel like, what team is gonna, come out on top with each round. And it's, when we think about the guys of old, we think about those guys that we're used to dominating. Like I said, the Stephs, and obviously he's out, but the Kevin Durant's, the LeBron James, and you think about these guys and you automatically think, well, we know what they can do. We know what they've done in the past. But like I said, it's now to the point where, times are shifting and times are changing. And like I said, I think that's exciting.
Well, look, Luka didn't have a great first game, obviously, but yes, you could have Steph, KD, and LeBron, maybe, all out after the first round. And that would be a pretty big changing of the guard. I mean, though you guys have been talking about Anthony Edwards. I know y'all are proud of him.
Yeah, I'm sure he, he's been dreaming about this game. He's been looking forward to this series. He's been talking a week before about what he was going to do, and he came out and showed it, especially in the third quarter. He got every matchup he wanted. Royce O'Neal checked him. KD checked him. Everybody checked him, but obviously no one got a stop. And he took over the game, and I think that's where the gap in the game where Minnesota took the lead and never looked back. But for my biggest concern going into game two is all the role players. If you look at all the home teams, all the role players played well. You name every team that won except for probably New Orleans. I would think all other 7 teams, I'm looking forward to their role players and what they're going to do. Teams that lost, none of the role players played well. You look at a team like Phoenix, Eric Gordon, he goes 0 for 5, 0 points. Grayson Allen, 4 points. You pick a team. The Lakers, AD and Bron can't play any better. D'Lo, Austin Reeves, Hachimura, Torian Prince, they have to play. They have to make 3. They have to shoot the ball. And also this rebound the basketball. I think every team that rebounded the basketball, that won the rebound the edge, dominated the game. So those are my big concerns. And I think if the role players play well on the road, which normally, historically, they don't, and I think that's why we saw that's so important that the teams wanted to get the home court advantage.
It's that time of year. The NBA postseason is here. Are you going with the favorites, the underdogs, or the dark horses? Anything can happen. The battles are hot and the stakes are high. The cash prizes, well, they're huge. So get off the bench and get in the game with DraftKings Sportsbook. Here's the deal. Right now, all new customers who bet just $5 on anything, that's right, anything, you're going to get $150 in bonus bets instantly. So what are you waiting for? Download the DraftKings app now, sign up using my promo code, BULLYBALL. That's BULLYBALL is your promo code. Keep the good vibes rolling and use your $150 in bonus bets on DraftKings same-game parlays for a shot at an even bigger payout. Again, new customers can bet just $5 on anything and receive $150 in bonus bets instantly with code BULLYBALL. The crown is yours. The thrill and excitement of playoff basketball and concert season is upon us. If you're looking to get on the action in person, Game Time has you covered. You can keep track of the playoff schedule and concerts that are announced with the Game Time app. You can secure tickets. This is great. This week, LA's own Ice Cube is going to be at the Forum with a legendary lineup. They've got E40, Too Short, Scarface, Exhibit, and Mac 10. Packed show. I'm not going to miss that. When I was looking at tickets last week, they were starting at just under $100 in the Game Time app. And if I found the same tickets for less, well, somewhere else, then Game Time would credit me 110% of the difference. Yeah. So if you're like me, looking at tickets last minute, here is a pro tip. They're up to 60% off with the Game Time app. Take all of the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. You can download the Game Time app, create an account, and then use the code BULLYBALL. That's code BULLYBALL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account. You want to redeem the code BULLYBALL for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Last minute tickets, lowest prices, guaranteed.
16 teams, 1 trophy. The NBA playoffs are here, and all roads lead to the finals. Will NBA champions like Jokic and Giannis dominate again? Or will emerging stars like Anthony Edwards and Jason Tatum solidify their names in NBA history? The playoffs are where legends are made, and TNT will make sure you don't miss a moment of the action. Tune into TNT's coverage of the NBA playoffs, presented by Google Pixel on TNT, True TV, and Max.
Get ready for a wild, action-packed joyride with the new movie Boy Kills World, starring Bill Skarsgård
as the one-man killing machine who was trained from childhood to avenge his family's murder by the Van der Kooi dynasty. Critics are raving that Boy Kills World is a brutal and twisted R-rated Looney Tunes on acid and gleeful lunacy. Get ready for martial arts mayhem and get tickets now. Boy Kills World hits theaters on April 26th. Rated R.
That's the thing. Like, it's funny. We're reminded every year, the first week of the playoffs. Yes, all the things we always say about the playoffs are true. And that's why there is such a drop off between what we know in the regular season and what we know about the playoffs, and why teams that sometimes struggle in the regular season do well in the playoffs. Like, it's all true. Role players play better at home. True. We saw that, right? Young, inexperienced teams, who are a little out of their depth and aren't used to what a playoff environment is like, definitely struggle. Now, obviously, we're talking about some of the young stars, like Anthony Edwards was incredible. But if you look at the Orlando Magic as a team, they looked like that playoff environment was like a little much for them. The Thunder, yes, they were able to pull out the win, and Shea was incredible, especially at the end of the game. You see why he's a finalist for most clutch, certainly on my most clutch ballot. But like, they definitely looked out of their depth a little bit for big chunks of that game, and a little overwhelmed, even in their home. Amazing. I mean, that environment in OKC is bonkers. They still looked a little bit shaken of the playoffs. So just some of that stuff we always talk about. It's a cliche for a reason, right? And that's what stuck out to me from the first weekend, was just sort of like, yep, tick, 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 all the things that we normally say. It is interesting all the home teams won. There's a stat that something like 75% of the teams that win game one of a 7-game playoff series go on to win the series. And obviously that's going to be skewed by the fact that teams that win game one are normally the better team at home, right? So of course they're going to go on to do that, but it's still a stat for a reason. And it still does tell you that 75% maybe of these teams that won over the weekend will go on to win the series. We could also see a couple sweeps here. I don't know. Who do you guys think is the most in danger of getting swept? Where are you on that, Boog?
For me, I'm looking at this Lakers team.
You're not saying the Celtics? I mean, you're not saying the Celtics are sweeping the Heat? You know what I mean? You're going Lakers?
I'm going with the Lakers.
Really? Wait, you're the Celtics. Okay, thank you. Some sanity.
Right.
Yes, but the reason is this Denver team has dominated this Lakers team for a couple of years now.
Yeah,
I would say
9 in a row?
maybe since the bubble year with you, Rondo. So I mean, I don't really know what happened to that one. It hasn't. Well, how long has it been, to be exact?
It's been 2 years, but it's been over 9 games. 9 games is a lot, right, in a row.
It's definitely in Denver's favor. I feel like this Denver team they know this Lakers team. They've pulled their card. They know their weaknesses. They know their strengths. They know them like the back of their hands. And it's kind of, crazy, because we feel like every offseason the Lakers build their team to match up against, Denver. And they just haven't found that successful formula since that bubble year. So with that being said, I feel like the Lakers are in great.
You think it's going to be a sweep? I mean, last year was a sweep.
I just don't see them. Yeah, I just don't see them.
I got to think the Lakers are going to win 1 game at home, don't you?
I think they will. I don't see. Again, AD played a hell of a game. I don't know if he can continue to match that, but I have seen him play at that level. And maybe he's there, and I hope he's there. Huh?
I mean, we need 50 from both of them to get a win.
No.
They got to do that every night.
No. They got to do what they just did. But the D-Los, I'm betting D-Lo won't go with 6 for 20. You know what I mean?
D-Lo could definitely play a better game.
No, he's definitely going to play a better game. Austin Reeves could play a better game. Torian Prince, Hachimura. And matter of fact, Dinwiddie didn't get a field goal attempt up. So, I mean, these are things that can possibly happen and change the swing of the series, because Denver technically only won the third quarter. I mean, Lakers had control until that third quarter got out of hand. Pope hit 4 threes. Their role players in that quarter destroyed the Lakers. And the Lakers role players didn't show up that quarter or their game, pretty much.
But that's the thing that, like you say, role players at home play better. I got to think in LA at least. I don't know who's going to – we're recording this on Monday morning. I don't know who's going to win game 2 tonight. Maybe you all listening out there have already seen that game. But I feel like at least at home they're good for 1, 2. I don't know.
I mean,
I don't see that. I mean, why haven't we seen it all year? They've been swept. They got swept in the regular season.
My thing is They just got to
Was
shoot the
D'Lo
three
gonna play
better.
better regular season? Was Austin Reeves gonna play better regular? Like, it's not like this is their first loss to them all season. Like, they've been dominated for the past 2 years. So for me, it's like, yeah, we can sit here and name everything that went wrong in the game they lost and say, well, if this was done better, yeah, they would have won. Well, yeah, that's
But
all
that's what it's about. It's
hypothetical.
about
But every
adjustments.
time
It's about adjustments, and I think I don't see Bron getting
they are
swept.
getting swept right now
Bron
for
getting
the
swept.
past 2 years.
Bron getting swept 8 games in the playoffs though. I got to
Though they
see
already
that.
Look,
got
I'm the
swept.
one.
He's already.
I'm the one who's
he's
been
over
saying
5.
all year.
he's over 5.
Right?
But 3 more games before he
Already
get one.
swept. No.
I'm a bet it, man. I'm a bet
Okay,
with Bron, bro. I'm a bet with Bron.
I get you.
See, I was
But
gonna
if
say,
we're
I'm the
betting
one who
for them
said
to
all
get,
year, Denver. I'm the one who said that the Lakers are going to go as far as until they meet Denver, right? They could get to the conference finals if they meet Denver there, or they could get to the first round, and now they're in the first round against Denver. So there we go. I believe in Denver to win this series, but I gotta think, I'm with Doe. I've gotta think they're going to take a game or two somewhere
Yeah,
now.
I'm not gonna bet the house, but I'm still gonna bet with Bron. But for
so
sure,
the bet is they're going to get one game.
at least Bron will get one game. He ain't go down to Joker 8 straight times
Man,
in the playoffs. I know they 0-9, but in the
bar is
playoffs,
low, brother. The
huh?
bar is low. The bar is low.
You know what?
If we just betting for one game, one?
It's
Are we
been
still calling him the
ugly.
Joker, or is he just grew now? Maybe he's just grew.
Listen, the Heat. We got to switch this to the Heat, man.
Thank you.
Celtics ready to sweep the Heat. That's the problem. That's a damn near a for show sweep. I just don't see it. I just don't see it, man. They don't have
With
enough.
Jimmy being out?
Jimmy and Rozier. I mean, there are a lot of role players at that point. And the Celtics have too many stars, and their role players are, playing exceptionally well. And like I said, that home court advantage, I think they have 5 guys in double figures. I mean, it's just tough to beat, man. They're too dynamic.
Yeah, it's right. You can't. I mean, you've got 2 of your starters out, including your best player. Like and you're the 8th seed to begin with, and you barely got in. Like I don't know. That's got sweep written all over it to me. We'll see. Look, Miami's gritty. Obviously, they always pull off the improbable. That their home court advantage is really significant. I mean, I love that building when it's all crazy pumped. And Doe, you've played in that environment, during a NBA finals. Like conference finals. It's just bonkers. But it's still, I don't know. It's got sweep. It's got sweep to me. That's got sweep to me. We got to talk about another East series, though, because this is supposed to be one of the most competitive series on the other end, the Knicks-Sixers series, right? We thought that could go 6 or 7 games. But now we got some injury questions. Joel Embiid, I don't know if he's actually that hurt or if he just got a big scare. But, Boog, when you do, like Doe's saying, like he saw him just sort of play it safe, do you have to tell yourself, I got to get in there again? How mentally tough is that for you?
It can definitely be mentally tough. I've never experienced the part where, you injure yourself, come back from it, and then you kind of have that scare. I've never experienced that, but just coming back from injury in general, it can definitely, have a mental block on you. It can have you uncomfortable in your movements. It can have you not as confident in your abilities, and sometimes you can play pretty gingerly. And I think we did see that, once he came back from the scare, where he more so settled for jumpers. He wasn't as physical with, getting to the basket or finishing around the basket, or in the same manner with the fantastic dunk that he did have with that play. It wasn't the same, tenacity that he usually plays with. So that is a sign that, that scare or that injury is in the back of his mind. But I mean, once it's playoffs, it's playoffs. And, at the end of the day, you kind of want to leave it all on the floor. And sometimes it is to the point where, you do something that, could harm you in that moment. But that's just the stubbornness that kind of comes with athletes. But hopefully with this, he can get that injury under control. It was weird to me to see, blood coming from his knee. I didn't quite understand that part. I thought that was, pretty weird. But at the end of the day, we can look past all of this just when it comes to Joel in general. Like, we've seen this story happen over and over and over again. And for me, I've reached out to Joel before. My question is, at what point do you start taking the pressure off of those, knees and joints and ankles and things of that nature? You're not the young spring chicken that you once were when you first came into this league. Age is starting to get on your side, so it has to be some type of adjustments you add.
What are you talking about? You talking about diet? What are you talking about? Like,
Diet is
what are you
number
getting
one.
at?
Diet is
Okay.
number one. I feel like at some point the big fella has to come down and weight. And
do.
the reason I say that because these
I mean, he's
injuries
not
are going to
obese.
continue to. Say that again.
He's not obese. He's not crazy heavy.
Yeah, but it's hard to play with 300 plus pounds every night,
Right.
jumping up and down on those knees and your ankles. Like that wear and tear eventually is going to get the best of you. And like I said, we keep seeing this same story over and over and over again. And I just want to know at what point is he going to make that adjustment to lighten the load for the longevity of his career. Even when it came to Tim Duncan, at a certain point, Tim Duncan got slimmer. He even talked about it. He wanted to have less weight on his joints and on his knees and things like that. So I think that's now the point that Joel is at. And I feel like, I don't know what it'll take or who it'll take, but he has to embrace that part of his career now, just for the longevity of it. And he's an incredible talent. He's an incredible player. And I think he has all the ability to, with his talents to be a champion at the end of the day. But
it's already an MVP, yeah.
If he can't get his health under control at some point, it's always going to be the same story that we've been talking about, where he's injured in the playoffs and how much can he give us this year and will it be enough? I don't want to keep having this same conversation. I want to see a 100% healthy Joel Embiid from start to finish in these playoffs, and I want to see him dominate from start to finish. And I think it starts with his diet and just dropping some weight. And I can say that because I was in that position at one point. I understand that.
Yeah.
And like I said, for the longevity of his career, I think he's at that point where he has to make that adjustment.
I just want to remind everyone that this beat up Sixers team is the team that Cleveland 1,000% threw their final game of the season to avoid playing the Sixers team. The Cavs decided we'd rather take our chances, face the Magic in the first round where we think we can win a round, even though that puts us on the Boston side of the freight train bracket, instead of playing the Sixers who, we're scared, oh my God, we're terrified, and then possibly having a much easier half of the bracket to get to the conference finals. I don't know. Though this really offended me. It made me feel like you don't have enough confidence in your team that they could win a title or at least get to the conference finals. So you're just going to settle for, we want to win a round because we want Donovan Mitchell to be happy. Donovan Mitchell has won playoff series before. If you're Donovan Mitchell, though, is winning a round going to mean so much to you if your team fucking ducked the smoke so that they could we're going to win a round so we can, I mean, come on, man.
They ducked the smoke. That's what we're saying.
They were up. I don't have producer Nate. You can chime in. What was Cleveland up by? Were they up by 20? They were up significantly, and they pulled everyone.
I mean, that's not me. I know personally, that's something you talk about as a team, and I'm pretty sure JB did talk to the guys. And I've been in a situation where, like I said, we was able to face LeBron early, or we could duck him,
right?
And obviously the guys we want to smoke early, but the personnel is different. And maybe their logic is different. It's like, okay, we rather not face a physical Embiid with the players that we have. We got Jared Allen and we got Evan Mobley. If we face the Boston Celtics, they're a more talented, more skilled team, but at the same time, we might get a shot. We're not going to overlook Orlando, but again, we have home court advantage. We can get Orlando, and who knows what can happen against the Celtics. And if we're going to have to face them eventually anyway, why not face them early?
I thought the whole thing was Bush League.
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is, and hopefully we'll get to see that matchup next round and see how it unfolds. But at the same time, I think for me, the way they got handled last year in the Knicks series, the physicality, they didn't want any smoke with Embiid. And, it is what it is.
Okay, but what does that tell you? If you're Donovan Mitchell, then what does that tell you? That's the thing. If this is all about, let's give Donovan Mitchell a win so that he still likes it here and that he'll stay and he won't ask for a trade, if I'm Donovan Mitchell, I want to be playing in the conference finals and finals. I don't want to be playing for the first round. What are you telling him?
Yeah, but who's to say that you're going to get there either way? I mean, either route you take.
You should be trying. Let's try.
I definitely want to go into any playoff winning. Obviously, no doubt about it. But again, I can't only speak for myself and my experience. This team is different. JB is one of my favorite coaches I've ever played for. So
I was going to say he's fantastic. Yeah, I don't think it's him. That's why to me, I look at Donovan Mitchell. I look at other guys on that roster, who I think a lot of them are really promising, interesting players. I look at JB, who I think the world of. Like I had in my head, and this is just my opinion, it had to have come from management, and like that's where I don't know. It's obviously it's over, it's done. Anyway. This is my feelings. You shouldn't screw around with the basketball gods. Let's move on. I'm going to throw 3 stats at you guys. 2 of them are true. 1 is a lie. I have not seen these yet. So let's look. Oh, 1 of them involves you, Rajon Rondo. So you better get this one right. Let's start with you, Rajon. Stat number 1. Rajon Rondo has had 2 20-assist games in the playoffs. Stud. Number 2, Dwight Howard holds the record for most blocks in a playoff game with 10. And number 3, James Harden, another star over the weekend, holds the record for the most turnovers in a playoff game with 12. So, Doe, 2 stats, 2 truths and a lie. 3 stats, 2 truths and a lie. What do you got?
I'm going to go with the Dwight. It's a lie.
What about you, Bug? What do you got?
I'm going to go with Rondo having 20 in the game as a lie. Just because he's in front of me right now.
I feel producers. Well, I'm going to say I feel the producers would not put that stat up about Doe if it wasn't true. Right?
I got my
do you know for a fact if you've had 2 20-assist games in the playoffs? Do you know, or are you just assuming like me?
I think I remember the 2, but let's see. I thought I had more, but maybe
right.
it's just 2.
I assume that they wouldn't have put that up if it wasn't true, and then it's just a toss up for me. But I kind of agree with you on Dwight. I feel like is the most. I just feel like someone's had to have had more blocks than 10.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Yeah,
that's kind of where I am on that. But okay, producer Nate has come in. He has told me, in fact, that Rajon, you did indeed have 2 20-assist games. Boog, you are the most disrespectful co-host in the history of podcast co-hosts.
I'm telling you, top 5.
James Harden number is correct, and that the Dwight Howard is in fact a lie. Rajon, we are correct. We know everything that ever is to know about stats in basketball. I'm surprised no one had more blocks in a game than 10 though, because it was 10, but it wasn't Dwight. It was a 3-way tie involving Hakeem Olajuwon and 2 other players. But I would. I don't know, 20. You can't believe you didn't think he could get 20.
I know he had 20.
I was his teammate.
I know he had 20 with me. Yeah. No, they said
playoffs. He was his teammate in 2.
They said playoffs.
Wait, were you guys on? So one of those 20-assist games was on the Pelicans. You were there? But you were there for that game? You were on the court for that game?
He wasn't on the court. He was hurt. So he left. He didn't come around.
Oh, that was after that?
Whoa, what?
He didn't support us out there. It was over.
Nah, that ain't true.
Wow.
No, that's a lie. 2 false, 2 truths and a lie. So.
I was going to say.
Come on, dog. Don't do me like that, bro.
You just lied for me.
You're right. You know what? You're right. You owe me that one. All right. All right.
Next time we're going to have Nate actually come in on the broadcast because he's got all the information. All right. Let's get to I'll Take That Bet presented by DraftKings. Minnesota versus Phoenix. We touched on it. Soda leads 1-0. Wolves are minus 155 to win the series. Suns are plus 125 to win the series. So Vegas still seeing this as, not a toss-up, obviously, but it's not as wide a spread as on some of these other series. So who are you guys taking? Why don't you go first? Which bet are you taking over there, Bug?
I'm liking this Minnesota team. I've liked them all year. I like the shine that's coming with, Anthony Edwards. He's really coming into form of being, one of the faces of the NBA, being an actual superstar in our league. And we're watching it unfold right in front of us. He had an incredible game against a guy that he looks up to and was one of his favorite players growing up. So just having that confidence as a young guy performing on that big of a stage, I feel like it's only gonna get better, and we're gonna see even better performances from this young kid. The supporting cast that they have with Jay McDaniels on the perimeter guarding whatever matchup is, in favor that night, and you got the big fella underneath controlling the paint. So they have a good, solid team all around. Karl-Anthony Towns returning; he's gonna be a huge piece of this team. It's a lot of talent with this team. Naj Reid coming off the bench.
Reid, right here.
Man, so it's a lot of talent with this.
The kid last night, Alexander Walker, he went crazy.
Absolutely.
To me, he's the reason they won. 18 points off the bench.
Yeah, so this team is young, they're hungry, it's full of talent, and I think they've shown all year that they are a true contender, and we're watching them, continue to grow and things unfold in front of us right now. So I'm leaning with Minnesota.
You same, Doug?
He sold me. Yeah, I'm on the same wave. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Well, look, Grayson Allen rolled his ankle in game 1, questionable for game 2. We don't know what's going to happen there. Obviously, if he's out, that's going to be another blow for Phoenix. I don't think this series is going to be a sweep or anything. I think it will be a tough series. You've got experienced guys. Kevin Durant is still Kevin Durant. I'm sorry. I don't know how he is still underrated, but I think somehow he's still underrated in our league. And he has the potential to win a game all by himself. But I do think that Minnesota is a more complete team. And as you said, no point guard is an issue for them.
I didn't expect to see Brian get swept last year either, too. So but you said the time to change him. So hopefully Vogel can get it done. Don't get swept. But again, it ain't just a guarantee because he's on the floor now.
Yeah, no, I know. You're right. I don't know. I think he has a nuclear capability. Braun's a little different. He obviously can control and take over a game in so many different ways. But KD's such a pure shooter. I don't know. He could drop 50. He's got that in him still.
Another kid can drop 52.
That's true. We've
seen it. About to me.
Yeah. That 21 finger sleeve, right? He got that KG finger sleeve on him. Yeah, no. You're right. Look.
I'm with you. I guess you're right.
Yeah, and look, Jaden McDaniels, to your point, Boog, he was on one of my all defensive teams. I think that group, they know who they are. They don't have a ton of winning playoff experience, I'll grant you, but a couple players do, and I think that they've obviously got a really good coach. And I don't know. I look at them to win this series for sure. Even though that bet that we're taking from DraftKings not going to give us a ton of. You put $100 down, not going to get quite as much back as if we had put money on Phoenix. But a winning bet is still a winning bet. That's all I got to say. It's still worth placing. There you go. I'm going to get you guys on a Kentucky question real quick because we have not spoken to you since Mark Pope was hired. What was your initial reaction? Have you guys spent any time around him? What are your thoughts as Kentucky goes forward here?
I don't know much about him. Obviously, what everyone else knows, he's a champion. I think that's the best hire at that particular time due to the fact that I think, the first couple of guys they couldn't get. He's a familiar face. And,
wow.
What?
You see that? That was just a drive-by right there on the athletic department.
No, not necessarily. I mean, these are facts, I believe. I think Mitch did a hell of a job, getting Pope in, and he's a cerebral coach. He has a different style that I think people are going to get accustomed to. Right now, it's just about landing the talent. So for him, getting people accustomed to who he is as a person, what he stands for, and what he's looking for in players. So it's going to take time, but nevertheless, I don't think they'll be down for long. And I think they had a nice little transfer portal signing already, or commitment.
Yeah.
He's still coming to the draft, but it was a big man. I think was Drexel. Where's he at? Yeah. So that's a start, and we'll see how it goes. Like I said, this is a waiting game, and with so many players in the portal. It's no knock on Pope or what Cal did. This is the game. I think obviously if he did stay, it wouldn't have been as many people that transferred. But you still got guys like Reed Shepherd was going pro anyway. Rob was going pro, so it's going to be an adjustment period anyway. And I believe that it won't take long.
Do you know Pope, Boog?
No, I don't know Pope. I believe he was part of the '96 team. So I was 6. But
you could have run across? I mean, you've played for a few teams. I didn't know if you ran across him anywhere.
I haven't.
I was 6. I was 6. Oh, I'm sorry. Doe, I think he just called us old.
He's funny as hell. I was 10. I mean, I ain't too much.
I get it. I'm just saying. I was 6.
I was 6
when that happened.
6.
I know, exactly. I was 6. All right, we can move on. I thought maybe one of you could have a personal connection. Who knows? But okay, all right, great. Well, we will see what happens. We will follow them, of course, throughout the recruiting period and next season because we have a special interest in Kentucky on this podcast. I did want to get two of you before we go about the Warriors, though. I know people have discussed it infinitum over the last week. We don't need to have, break down everything for people because it's already been poured over. But you have such a unique perspective because, Boogie, you were in that locker room. You know everybody involved. Doe, you had the experience, obviously, of being with the Celtics and when that team, 2 finals in 3 years would have been to a third if KG hadn't gotten hurt and then had to decide whether to break that up or not. Look, Clay is a free agent. Chris Paul's not guaranteed next season. Big decisions. I want to say Clay still had decent numbers this past season, especially once he sort of figured out who he was on that team now and how he was going to play. He was not a disaster. So you need to stop that narrative. But he's obviously was getting paid way more than what he was producing. And so it's a question of, is he going to want to stay for the money that they're probably going to offer him? Andrew Wiggins struggled up and down, totally inconsistent, also way too much money for the production he gave. Draymond obviously just got the new contract. He missed 27 games of his own making. They were 33-22 in the games he played, 13-14 without him. So to me, that really speaks to his value. People who are like, oh, he's way overpaid. I can't believe that he's making that much money. Guess what? He impacts winning on that team to this day, and he makes Steph Curry better. Steph's on-off numbers with Draymond are completely clear. Like, he makes Steph Curry, who is already one of the most elite players this game has ever seen, even better. So to me, you don't get rid of Draymond. You need to just basically get Draymond to stay on the court and not do boneheaded things, and he is making a commitment to do that. So to me, that decision feels easy to me. The question then is Clay and Wiggins and some of the other stuff that they need to do. And it comes down a little bit to asking Steph, what are you interested in? Do you want to keep this core group together and is playing it out with them important, even if you guys aren't competing for championships anymore? Or do you want us to strip things down and try to give you the best chance to get another chip? I don't know. What would you guys want? I want to start with you, Boog, because you've been in that locker room and you know how important Clay is to the functioning of the team. What do you think?
For me, I think the Warriors have put themselves in a pretty shitty hole when it just comes to roster construction, assets, money, all of those things. So for me to sit here and try to, figure out what would be the right moves for them moving forward to correct their team, I don't have those answers, and I'm not going to even act like I do. But I do understand this part. I know the Warriors were bought when this group came in and bought this Warriors team. They bought them for about $450 million. Mm-hmm. As of today, this franchise is now worth $8.5 billion.
Billy.
I don't give a shit how many baskets Klay Thompson misses. He deserves to ride off in the sunset. Because at the end of the day, when this owner gets this, and let's be clear, this is a hobby for this owner. So when he's done with this hobby, he gets bored with this hobby, he's going to be able to go and collect 8.3.
But it's not about the owner. It's about Steph. Right? So it's about Steph Curry. They will do whatever Steph wants. I absolutely feel confident in saying that. And that if Steph wants to have Clay with him the rest of the time, and it's special to play all as a group together, and it's special to be able to finish out together. And if that's more important to him than definitely getting a chance to win again, then he totally has the right to make that decision. And I think that there is real merit in that. But it's a different decision than I want to compete for a title again. And like that's kind of, I guess, what I'm asking is, what would you do, or what would you say or want to do if you were Steph Curry? Or would you not want responsibility and just say, you guys make the call? What would you do if you're Clay? Would you take less money to stay in Golden State than you would get? I mean, someone would offer him, I guarantee you someone will offer him money this summer. But will you take less to stay in Golden State? Like, what would you do if you were either of those two guys?
I think Steph, at the end of the day, wants his guys with him. He knows what helped him create what they created there in Golden State. So I know for a fact, Draymond and Klay, he's going to vouch for them no matter what. My thing is, if I'm Klay, I feel like he deserves to have the arrogance that he has when it comes to demanding the contract that he wants. He's put in the groundwork. And I spoke on the value of this team increasing the way it did because that didn't happen because the owner bought the team.
No, I
It
agree.
happened because of those three guys and what they did in those amount of years to help increase the value of this franchise. So on top of having 4 championships, on top of being core pieces in this group, they increase an
New arena
investment
being
that this
built.
guy.
All-star game playing there. Like, they
Just
bringing that money in.
everything that comes with that, I don't feel like that can be overlooked, regardless of
Okay,
the
but if you
results
give
you're getting
him
right
that
now.
much money, if you give him a big chunk of money, you don't have that money to spend other places, and it puts you into salary cap restrictions. That means that you can't do like league minimum thing. You know, like you
Nope.
can't do those vet minimum
just gotta have a
exceptions
conversation.
and all that stuff. You just have to decide what's more important to you, right? Do you want a more competitive team? If you do, then Clay's got to take a big chunk less if he's going to stay. Clay has to decide what he wants to do. I don't know what to do with Wiggins because I don't know how much, if you can trade him and get anything back for him or if you'd have to attach something to him. They do have really good, promising young players. They had some great play from some of the rookies this year. But Wiggins is a huge financial drain on them compared to the production you're getting. To me, Draymond is worth the financial that you're paying him. I can see where that comes out on the court. And with Clay, it is a question of, I agree with you. He deserves all the money he could get because of what he's done, but then that will have an impact on whether this team can move other pieces around and win. So it's just a question of, I mean, Doe, what would you want if you were Steph or if you were Clay? Would you want to stay but have a less competitive team? Would you want to stay for less and have a more competitive? I mean, there's just a lot of factors here.
I don't know the relationship they have. You know, like I said, that's why I would have Cuz answer that question more so personally. I don't know either of them, you know, that closely, and you know what they've gone through over the years. You know, we see it from a lens from the outside, but internally, you just don't know. And I think that'll determine on the outcome of what happens the next year with this team.
Well, you went through it in Boston, and when Danny Ainge, who would trade his mother, was like,
Yeah, but
see you, KG and Paul.
Yeah, but we didn't win 4 championships. So,
Right.
You know, it's a different one. Is different, you know, and it's always a "what have you done for me" league lately. What have you done for me lately league? So, you know, winning 1 championship, and they gave us a couple more years to try to figure it out. And when we didn't, you know, it was
Right.
time to move on. You know, just like you know, their offense, the way they play, their style of play. It's time to move on from that. But
That's another topic, brother. Time for an update.
But no, it's you know, that's all I can say about it as far as like when it's time, you know.
All right. We'll see. I'm going to close by asking Boogie to explain what pillow hands are. We were talking about boxing before we got on the air. What are pillow hands?
What Luka got hit with last night.
Man, pillow hands, man. Just not the punching power that, you know,
Oh, okay.
people expect you to have. So, pillow
That's
hands.
how you gonna put it.
Yeah, I'm gonna just put it
I
like
respect
that.
it. Okay.
Yeah.
Stay out the
Put
clear,
it-
right?
Stay out the way.
Right,
Absolutely.
yes, like what you started the podcast with, right? Zen, right?
Yeah.
Good call, Chris.
Just trying to have a little fun. You can catch all episodes of Bully Ball on the DraftKings Network, all the Smoke Productions YouTube channel. Listen to us wherever you get your podcast. Rate us, review us, pump us up in the algorithm. We will be following the adventures of the Taiwan beer leopards as we go over the next few weeks. We will be catching you up on the playoffs as we go. Thank you guys so much for being here, especially you, Boog, from far-flung regions of the world. We will catch you all next week. Thank you guys so much for watching. Bye, boys.
Peace.